very good for you. We're all here for each other. Oh, you're muted. Okay, you're okay. All right, sending you energy. Um, and remember, you too can, you guys can use the chat. Um, yeah, if you're typing, be sure you mute yourself. So, did anybody else have any comments or questions about the first exercise I posted this week, um, where we, I think Jesse, yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself. I'd love to talk to you about that.
Got
Hi,
it.
yay,
Hi. Hi,
hi.
everybody. Hi, Miss Rhonda. Love you. Um, I wanted to was seeing when you did I was reading the post.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. When I was reading your post, it was weird because I got cold real sudden, and the first color I saw was yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really cold, and then I put fishy smell, but it was more like a jungle, like stuffy, but like kind of not fishy the smelling, but it was more like humid
Humid.
smelling.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that, but
Yeah.
that's what it felt like.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear
Oh,
you.
please be here. Okay. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It keeps freezing on me, so I apologize. Um, and then when you shared the video, uh, it kind of came to me where I was like, wait a minute, because I didn't get an assault or anything like that, like the big lamp.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of felt like it was I that was the lamp looking out in your office,
Oh, cool.
because I saw your cold window and I was like, okay, I remember I was chilly, and I
Yep.
saw you had these yellow sticky notes everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but around there.
I use
We're
them
so
for
good.
everything. Yeah. You're still good.
Hello?
We still hear you.
Oh,
I think it's just
no.
on your end.
Hello? Okay.
Still hear
I
you.
might,
Hmm. Yeah, we're okay.
okay. So that's all. And then I had plants. And then I said, okay, there was a lot of greenery. And I remember smelling like a lot of the green, not green, but like the stuffy smell. I'm talking, I can't see anybody moves.
Yes.
So that's what I was feeling.
Cool. Well, you connected with it. You just connected and from a different perspective, and that's what it's really important to remind you all to be super open about not just what you're getting, but how you're getting it. Okay? Because you're working in the quantum field, you have really no body, no mind. You are just a presence and you're observing. And depending on what is significant to you, is how you're going to perceive and interpret what you're getting. And it's really important to underscore that. You know, when Jessie was talking about this, she realized she was seeing not the lamp, not the salt lamp that I was trying to send the symbol of or the picture of in my feeling state of, but she was literally seeing out of the lamp into my room, which was, hi John, it's good to see you. Um, so and it's very significant because she was picking up on different elements than say Kathy was or than Lisa was. Um, it's it's really fascinating, and that's why I love to do these exercises in a group so that we can see the fractal nature of or the holographic nature of our existence, because each of us, think about this, I could put my salt lamp in the middle of this camera and you could be looking at it, and each of you would see a different part of it, right? You would see a different perspective, even just with your human eyes. Or if we were standing in a circle and I'm standing in the middle of the circle, you could be looking at me, but some of you would be seeing my back. Some of you would be seeing, because you're tall, you would see the top of my head. And you'd each be seeing me, but you'd be getting different pieces of information as pertains to your perspective. And that's a very important underscore for not just our practice, but for everything in life. Remember, what you perceive and how you interpret it determines your point of perception. I.e., if you are watching a circumstance, let's say on the news, your point of perception is not just going to be your eyes, ears, and so forth seeing that news story. It's going to also be colored by your past experiences, your feeling state, what just happened to you before you saw it, you know, all of that stuff. The reason why I bring this up is because we are talking about not just reading somebody's mind, we're talking about reading the field that is their point of transmission, if you will. So you have to be really open minded and you have to be really gentle with yourself if you don't feel like you're getting anything. Another rule that I'd like to bring up, that, or not a rule, but it's just a concept, is that if you were, for instance, when we get into our exercises here in a little bit, and you don't feel like you're getting anything, relax and be okay with it, because that's your greater self saying, I'm going to be really honest with you. You're not getting anything right now. So admit you're not getting anything. And usually, when you do that and you relax by not putting all of those pressures on yourself to get something, that's when all the information floods in. So it's kind of quirky if you look at it that way, but it's really, I think it's a really elegant way of the way we perceive and the way that we receive. Yes, Jesse. Jesse, yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know. Like last time I wasn't able to connect either, but we're just gonna keep going with it.
That's
um,
fine. Yes.
and to add into that, the word reflection. I remember you said I'm not too familiar with like what crystals and minerals are really for yet.
Mhm.
But but when you, I think you said something about that it was it does something, right? Like its purpose. For like
It
you said something about like the magnetic or something like that. That
right.
it would take it away, I guess, or reflect it away or something like that.
It
Or
transmutes negative energy. A
okay.
salt lamp. That's why it's really good for you guys to have salt lamps and like selenite. I have some selenite towers here on my desk. I use a lot of selenite and the Himalayan salt. I don't know if you can see this guy here, but that's one of the lamps that's on my desk. I use those extensively, especially in this room, because it is my office and it has a lot of electronics, and the electromagnetic frequencies that are emitted through all of that. I mean, they're great things to have, but they wreak havoc on our even on a cellular level, on the electrical impulses that are running our physical bodies, right? And on a more subtle level, they can disrupt your field, your quantum field, your energetic field. So it's nice to have those things. But yeah, that's what I was saying in our homework was, that's what its property is. So
Yeah, so when you said that, I was like, okay, well, I kind of understood it because I don't know why, but it the word reflection, it was like, okay, well, then it could mean a lot of things. So I said, okay, if this is something to, I guess, transmute or change something to be better or take away something not good, I said, okay, it's like something like I kind of said like pew pew pew, I'm reflecting away bad stuff.
mhm, yeah,
So I've learned that with like you said, practice, and my husband and I practice like here and there. I'm like, okay, here, hide this or go do this and let's see what we do, So it's kind of fun now. And
awesome.
so so we'll do that. And I said, okay, I'm starting to understand that everyone has a different, like you said, understanding or different language
Yes.
that you eventually, to what I've understood, is that eventually I'm learning my own language
Yes.
as to, like you said, what does that mean to me? Okay, so I was able to understand, okay, this is to take away something. So I'm like, pew, 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 I'm reflecting away something, so I wanted to say that. So thank you.
Oh, that's a wonderful concept to bring up. And um, yeah, just to review something that we talked about, earlier in our earlier classes, the quantum consciousness classes, for instance, the main language of life, the universe, if you want to call it that, is it's symbolism. Okay, because symbols are kind of constants if you take them for their overall meaning. Then there's a tree though. It's what's the universal meaning of, let's say, let's just take the symbol of a fish. Okay, universal symbol of the fish is, it's a living conscious being. It swims in the water, it breathes water. um, it has scales and so forth, but that's what the universal symbol of the fish is. Then you come down and you ask, well, what are the the communal what's the communal meaning to a fish? Well, depends on what culture you live in. If, for instance, you live out in the middle of the South Island Seas somewhere, the symbol of fish is probably going to be food for you. It's going to be highly revered because it's part of your food chain for most people who live, that kind of life. Um, and for, that's kind of a cultural symbol. So you have to look at what the symbol means to your culture. You know, for me, where I live in the Midwest, the symbol of a fish is usually, it's could be many things. It could be beauty, it could be grace, it could also mean entertainment or pleasure, because a lot of people like to go fishing. It's a very peaceful thing that they do. And then for another culture that I belong to, I'm vegan. So for me, it's a sacred animal. It doesn't mean food to me. It means a beautiful, graceful animal. So you have those cultural underpinnings of a symbol. Then you have personal. What's the personal symbol? And that's what you're talking about, Jesse. And that's what all of you need to start doing, is write your own encyclopedia of what symbols mean to you. And we're going to get into this when we get into the dream classes, because they give you the symbols, right? So, and in this work as well. So, you would have to ask yourself, Jesse, what does the symbol fish mean to me? What's the first thing that comes to me when I think of a fish? And you can write it down. And you just keep the little journal of these things. Like you say, you're playing hide and seek games with your husband, and you figure out what the symbols mean of the things that you're getting. That's very powerful. So that's why I ask you all to today to bring something to write with and to write on, because we're going to not just write down what we're sending and receiving or draw out what we're sending and receiving, but also to ask yourself deeply, what does this mean to me? Is this a universal symbol that I'm getting? Or is it a personal symbol, or is it both? And how do they juxtaposition in my life to give me meaning? And the more you do this, the more focused you're going to be, and the more the information is going to become very clear to you as you start to use your telepathy gifts. So it's just a fascinating subject. It's not anything that we're going to perfect in 2.5 hour classes, but these classes are jump starting you to be able to do this practice yourself. And then, of course, once we get through the whole list of classes, we're going to go deeper into each subject again. And so that'll be probably next year. But anyway, but in the meantime, thank you for participating in the homework. Those of you who did, Lisa, I have to give you like high marks because you just wrote pink Himalayan salt lamp. Like that was it.
I don't know where it came from. It just popped in my head like that. And I didn't even do any breath work, but I've been doing other energetic work in the meantime. I don't know, like, so I don't judge it, because then I started doing breath work and was second guessing myself. And I'm like, no, that's it.
Hmm. Well, and
Yeah.
what, and you know, that's again, all of your comments and all of your input is very helpful to everybody else, because I can really underscore the fact that I truly believe doing the breath work, doing the meditation, doing even the mantra work or the vocalizations, it can really help. But the way that it's helping is it's in preparation, it's clearing your field to be able to receive things more clearly and strengthen your abilities too. But you don't have to do it every single time all the time. I do because I think it's fascinating, and it feels good to me. But just like I think Matt said one time, maybe in a written comment, in one of the posts, is that he just picked up something from someone, and kind of said the same thing at the same time or right before someone was going to say it, and it's kind of shocking. You're like, oh, I didn't do anything to prepare. It just kind of came in. Well, that's because maybe not even in this lifetime, but other life realities, you have done this work and you're just starting to connect the circuitry again. So, all of us have had these instances where we've finished someone else's sentence, or we've answered the phone after thinking about somebody and it's that person we haven't talked to them for a long time, or we've picked up a piece of information that, you know, I have a friend who's an inventor, and he's always beating himself up because he writes down in his journal all of his ideas that he gets in meditation or whatever, and then goes to patent them, and somebody's just like the day before received a patent on the same thing. But that tells me that he has clued into the field and that's starting to make those connections. So don't get discouraged if you don't get anything, and do be encouraged if you get something even without practice. But I do encourage you to practice, because it's like lifting spiritual weights. It really is. It's good. And it's good for your body and your mind too. A lot of the practices that I've been teaching you are, the side effect is it tones the muscles and the systems of your body, and it oxygenates your cells, and especially your brain, and it puts pressure on the pineal gland, which helps to activate those beautiful hormones that connect you to the higher fields, if you will, especially a microdose of DMT. That's what happens. Um, I practice because I'm addicted to it, and it's a wonderful thing. I don't personally use any outside things, but some people do. It's okay. Everybody chooses their own path. But this is why I teach it this way. But thank you for saying it. And thanks for being brave enough, those of you who did post an answer, because it's just fun and it builds the group coherency. Um, I'm not saying you have to get on Facebook every single day and look at the stuff that we're getting ready to do, but I do highly recommend getting on our group once in a while and participating in that way, because there are going to be more and more of these little exercises throughout the weeks to keep you connected and to keep you excited about it. Because once you have a hit like that, you can't tell me you didn't get excited when I told you it was right, right? Oh, Lisa, didn't it feel good?
It certainly did. It was, I know, I can't explain it.
Was it
Just,
shocking?
it was, it was.
That's fun.
And then I think about, because that was something that I mentioned last week when we did our session, was it was like salt.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about the deeper meaning of, you and I connecting on a different level, because knowing the hypnosis part of it, right? Like, am I playing with your mind? Are you playing with mine? Are we putting it into the quantum field that you pick that light because of something I said? Like, there's so much intricacies to all of it, right?
It's true. And, that's a good statement, and I want to say, yes, you're playing with my mind and I'm playing with yours, but it's because it's all one mind. Remember that.
Yeah,
I think I may be misquoting the person. I think it was Carl Jung who said the number of minds in the universe is one.
is one. Yeah.
One. So, we're just playing with the different cells of our mind, if you will. So thank you for participating. And
Yeah.
John, I wanted to say welcome to you. You weren't here for the first class, my dear, but you're a highly masterful person, and I think you're going to really enjoy this. So some of the comments that we're making right now may not be um, very relative to you because you didn't receive the homework or anything from the last class. But basically, what I did was during the last week was I posted a couple of things where I had sent to the group um, something that I was focusing on, and they were to comment back what they received. So one was a pink Himalayan salt lamp on my desk, and it was interesting to see what people got. The other was the Sri Yantra symbol, which is much more complicated, sacred geometry piece, but that's really what we're talking about. So I don't mean to leave you out of the conversation, but we're just here to have fun and practice mostly today with each other. And I know that most of you don't know each other. There are a couple of you who've met because you used to practice with me locally. But again, that matters absolutely zero uh, because there is no time or space separating us. We are all part of this same, what my friend Jeremy likes to call the quantum soup. And so we're just floating by each other, blending our flavors in the quantum soup with each other. So we're going to be doing some really fun exercises today. They're not difficult in any way. They should be uh, easy to do. Don't be shy. I am going to put each of you with a partner, and I'm going to move you around in the different exercises in breakout rooms. Let's fingers crossed that Zoom works well today. If it doesn't, we'll do it a different way. But before we do that, I'll ask for if there's any more questions or comments, and then I'll get into, we're not going to do the practice today that we usually do. Um, we're going to, because I asked everybody to do it, although John, I don't think you had the template to do it, but uh, the group coherency should bring you in anyway. But I'm going to do a very short guided kind of turbo jumpstart for you in a couple minutes that'll get you into that brainwave state. We want to get into theta brainwave state basically before we do this work. And then we'll do a couple of exercises, then we'll take a break, and then we'll do one big exercise at the end and debrief with each other, if that sounds okay. So that's kind of the format of the day. So does anybody else have any comments, questions, observances about what we're doing, or how we're doing it, or anything? Everybody pretty cool? Rhonda Durham?
Okay, I've done kind of some self exercises as well, as you kind of know in my practice, that I'm gratefully getting back to. Some of the things I do is assign myself a non-local target
Mhm.
and then see what I come up with. And then I kind of wait to see what the responses is. And oh, this is going to sound well, not nuts to you or maybe some people, but then I get my confirmation. I don't want to say intuitively, but divinely, or whatever word you want to use in there. Okay. And so some of the targets I've been getting and focusing on, I'm getting multisensory responses, if you will. One example is going to be like today, and this was really wild because it's every day I wake up like I'm 10 years behind and trying to catch up. So
Same here.
yeah, so my target today, I had decided I was just going to go to my office because the background would be lovely and it's a really peaceful space for me, and I'm getting back to work, and
Yay.
And yeah, yeah, it has to happen or I'm gonna not be able to keep the space. So I'm looking and was determined I'm gonna go there and this is gonna be the perfect place because I can really get in touch with myself there and away from things here. And I was on my way and things weren't falling into place. And usually when things are when I get roadblocks to doing what I think I've planned, I
Hmm.
pay attention.
Yeah, good for you.
And one of the things I needed to do was pick up my sister so that she could be here while I'm gone. And I was on my way and I hear so loud and clear, don't go to the office or you will not make it back. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And there's no way I can explain the knowingness of that. But, my target was to be at the office and I'm kind of remote viewing how the class was going to go and some other things. And I hear that and I'm like, well, that just threw me for a loop. But on the other hand, I believe I was spot on. So I just wanted to comment that sometimes the remote view or telepathy, it's, I heard it in words and I had other sensations that confirmed. I mean, I saw a scene in my head and other things. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing this from home again. And so it can come not just because some other person is posting a picture. These are like the baby steps to get there so that you can trust what your target is. My target for today, I created my day and this is how I want it to go. But in self-correcting and living dynamically present in the quantum field, we need to be aware when we get a download like that that says, don't go, or this is because there's myriad realities. We're in the quantum world,
Yeah,
we're looking at
you have
multiple.
infinite realities.
Yeah, and so there's where I wanted to kind of share and put that kind of in perspective and to say, your knowingness, like Deb's talking about, you're looking at it, and my purview is that it's like looking through a kaleidoscope. There's multiple images and each of them may be very similar, but there's always some little variance based on the perspective of the observer.
Exactly. And thank
I'm
you for
done now.
sharing that. No, that's wonderful perspective and I'm glad you paid attention because it's really cool. It's a cool party trick to say you have telepathy and you can read somebody's mind or feelings. It's it's fun, it's entertaining. Throw that out the window and look at the deeper um, aspects of this where you are literally reading the field. That's what this is. You are reading the field. You're not just reading one person. You can focus in, like Jesse was saying, the reflection, the little pew, pew, pew. You can focus in on a particular piece of the field, which might be a person or an idea or even a time. We haven't gone much into time travel with this, but seriously, you can read anything from anywhere, any when, at any, anytime you want. But it may be not another human being. It may be another aspect. Well, it's all an aspect of yourself that you're reading, right? So I'm glad you listened. And I'm sure all of you have experienced this before, at least once. But every time I get a hit, as some people would call it in the olden days, an intuitive hit, a telepathic message somehow, don't go that way today, take a right turn and take the longer way. If I don't pay attention to that, I get a traffic ticket, I get in an accident, there's construction and I'm late. That's just one example. But if I do pay attention, I may not get any validation that I was right, but I certainly don't have the validation that I didn't listen to it and then had to pay the price, because it's all information. That's all it is. It's a big information soup, and we are picking what is most, how shall I say it, most beneficial for you in that moment. And maybe, then you build your other moments of your reality from that. So we're getting into some really abstract conceptuality here, but you all are smart and you all are all masterful. And I know that you are getting it on the level that you need. And I'm here for you if you ever need any questions answered. You can ask him in class, you can ask him on our page. Yes, John, unmute yourself just a little. Oops. Let me unmute you. I have to ask to unmute. Click on the little there. Can you click on the little microphone to unmute yourself? The little red microphone. Down in the lower corner of your picture where your name is, you should have a little red microphone that you can unmute. Or down in the lower corner, I don't know where it is on what you're using, but there's a microphone.
Yeah, I
There
think
you
I got
go.
it.
There you go.
Okay,
Yes.
well, that explains part of my problem. I have a quite a pronounced tremor,
Mhm.
and so I was fiddling around trying to do that. I finally got it.
It's okay.
Uh, I was having some trouble getting on today because of that. Also, uh, another challenge we're going to run up against here is I have a hearing problem.
Okay.
Long time ago, I had a very traumatic blah blah blah, and so as a result, I have trouble hearing. So whoever I uh, team up with or whatever, I hope you'll try to enunciate really well. I begin to tune people in after a while, tune in their way of speaking and so forth. So I do get better, and I don't normally wear my hearing aid, but I've just asked my wife to fix it up for me. So
Cool.
hopefully that'll help a little bit, and so I hope people, whoever I'm rigged up with will be tolerant of me and so forth. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just whoever. Thank you, John. And I've never had a problem with you when we've talked, but you may have had a problem with me and just been too
No, you're
polite.
pretty good. You
So,
enunciate very well, actually.
so just for whoever gets to partner with John today, please remember to speak up and speak clearly. And use your I'm going to ask all of you to use your camera so you can see each other. And I know that he can read your facial features better. So it should work just fine. But if you have a problem, don't be shy. Any of you, don't be shy to ask to repeat something again or be more specific or whatever. Okay. And thank you to your wife for helping today.
Yeah, she's putting it in right now here.
I see. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, but yeah, please proceed.
It's all those loud rock concerts you attended in your youth.
Yeah,
so,
those didn't help either.
so, so what we'll do? Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we? I'm going to do that little quick programming. It's kind of a guided meditation, but it's going to be super quick, because you guys are able to do that now. And then we will do a couple of quick exercises, then we'll take a break, then we'll do the big exercise. Okay. So, anybody else have anything? All right. So, you it's like our other guided journeys, but it's not going to be super fast. You can turn your camera off if you want to. You can cover your eyes. You can do whatever you need. It's probably just going to be about 10 minutes long, but I want you to be very relaxed, if you will. And we're going to have closed eyes for this. So I'm going to play some music. And this music is helpful in getting you into that theta state too. So you can listen with or without headphones or whatever. This just should be a background thing. All right. And so, if you will, with your eyes closed, just take a nice big deep breath in and fill yourself up, and then hold the breath for a moment, and then exhale and release all your tension. So on the inhale, you're going to breathe in through your nose and envision kind of sparkling light coming in and filling every part of your being. You're going to hold and let that amplify. And then as you exhale, if you want to, you can open your mouth and breathe out anything that is stale or stagnant or negative that might be holding you back. And as you inhale that sparkling light, that energy, and fill yourself up and hold, your body begins to relax, your mind begins to center. And then you exhale, just a big sigh of relief, just let it all go. And inhale that sparkling clear light, bring it into your being, amplify it by holding, see it filling yourself up with peace and with clarity. And then as you exhale, let those little light particles take with them anything that is no longer needed or wanted. It's almost like they're little magnets, and they attract and hold on to stuff that you don't need. And so you're going to continue this breathing cycle as I begin to bring you in. And you do it at your own pace. And with each cycle, you're going to relax deeper and deeper. You're going to relax your mind and your body, because when you're relaxed, you're more open to the connection to the quantum field. And so let your body relax. Remember, you have nowhere to go and nothing to do but just to be. When you can be in a place of conscious self-awareness without being attached to your body or your thoughts or even the distractions of the outside world, you are completely open and connected to this field. And it's a beautiful thing. It feels good to be this connected. And so you can breathe normally now if you like, or you can stay with that breath work. If you want an added little burst of connection, behind your closed eyes, glance up towards the Ajna chakra, the third eye point there between your eyebrows above your nose. Remembering that when you do this, it helps you to focus the line between the pineal gland and the center top of your head, and that opening, that lens, the front of your forehead, to the quantum field. Physiologically, it also induces a relaxation response via the vagus nerve. So you can keep your eyes looking upward, or you can let them rest now. Slipping into the field now. I'm going to count you down from 10 to 1. It's called the focus of 10. And it will help you to release any last vestiges of connection to body and extemporaneous mind. And you will not be distracted by anything in your outer world while you're in this beautiful state of healing and connection. So So I'm going to begin the count now. And as I count, you're going to listen to the sound of my voice. And you're going to just allow yourself to relax more and more deeply. 10. Relax your jaws. Let them be loose. Let them relax. If your mouth wants to open, that's fine. 9. Relax your eyelids. Let them be heavy or light, whatever feels right to you. 10. Going deeper, letting go, knowing that you're protected and safe in this beautiful space. 8. Relaxing the top of the scalp and the head. It's as if every pore on your scalp is relaxing and opening, almost like a breathing device to breathe in connected divine energy, source energy, if you will. Like millions of tiny satellite dishes, as you relax the scalp, you start to come online with the quantum field. And you relax even more deeply. 7. Relax the neck and the throat. Let there be no tension in these areas that usually are gripping and holding tight as a means of survival or defense. There's nothing to survive or defend against here in this beautiful sacred condensed space that we have created together. Float, become limp, become relaxed more and more. 6. Relax your cheeks, the left and the right. Relax all your facial muscles. Feel them releasing and relaxing. Your skin smoothing on your face. Go deeper. 5. Relax your eyeballs. Let them rest deep in the pit of the orbital bones. Let them float like little fishing bobbers back into your skull. You won't need your physical eyes now. You'll be focusing your inner eye. Relax. Go deeper. 4. Relax your entire brain. Let the brain become very limp and loose right there in your head. Open like a sponge to the information. And yet focused on pulling in the correct information for you. Become very deeply relaxed now. And Feel as if you are floating as well, not just your brain. 4, relax the feet, the toes, the knees, the thighs, and the hips. Feel each foot and each leg and each toe become independently limp and loose, floating freely in space, weightless, perfect, perfectly relaxed. Three, let the lower body, the belly, the pelvic areas, the inner organs of the lower body, and the genitals, the lower back, let it all release and relax and let go. Everything floating in perfection, in peace, harmoniously. 2, allow the upper body now to come online with this beautiful peace, this relaxation from the tips of your fingers and thumbs all the way up through the hands, the wrists, the forearms, the upper arms, the shoulders, and the chest. You might vision that sparkling light coming into them with each breath, bringing more and more relaxation, more alignment, more peace. 2, the back of the upper body. And again, the neck and the throat, the jaws, the head. Feel it all coming online. Very, very relaxed, very open. As we said, with the brain becoming a sponge for the information. And yet, very safe, very comforting in its position, floating in space. And 1. Deep into the field now. You are 1. As you let go of the conscious awareness of the body, letting it be in its own healing and developing space, your mind in its own space, let your conscious awareness now be uniquely and perfectly attuned to the information that you seek to send and to receive. And now adding this programming that you will be able to reach this depth of openness and peace and protection and clarity anytime you like. All you have to do is internally say the word 1. Perfect, as always. And now, having reached this state of awareness, we vow to not lose our connection with it. We'll begin to come back into the reality of really both worlds, the quantum field and our physical world, our virtual classroom with each other, and we will be working wonderfully and most harmoniously and most beneficially with each other today and beyond. So begin to come back in your awareness to your body, to where you left it. Feel it staying relaxed in its position. And as I say the word awake, you will awaken. Open your eyes. You'll feel rejuvenated and very centered and ready to take on these exercises with all of your gifts in perfect working order. Awake. And as you do, you can begin to open your eyes and wiggle your fingers and toes and stretch and yawn. Maybe take a drink of water or tea. And we will go into the next phase. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you all in what is known as breakout rooms. It may take just a second, but you'll be paired with another person. You can take, for this first exercise, we're going to take 10 minutes. You can say hello to each other, but not lots of chit chat because we only have 10 minutes for the exercise. And the first exercise will be, well, first of all, the person whose first name is the lowest letter in the alphabet, let's say Matt and Lisa are paired. Lisa would be the sender first, and then Matt would be the sender second. Okay, does that make sense? That way you don't have to try to figure out who's who. So the person with the lowest first name letter in the alphabet will be the first sender, and then you'll stop at 5 minutes. I'll tell you when to stop, and then you'll change places and you'll be the receiver. Okay, so this first exercise it's going to be kind of simple. Once I put you with each other, the sender will, however you like to do it, you will either write down the word of a piece of fruit that you like best, or that you like best right now, or you can draw it, whatever is best for you. But I want you to focus on sending to your partner the piece of fruit that you like the best right now. And you're going to do that for about 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes. And when I stop you, you can tune in, you can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and then send. And really what you want to do, senders, is visualize that piece of fruit. And not just visualize it like the color, the shape, and all of that. Try to key into the smell of it, what it feels like in your hand or in your mouth, what it tastes like, what does it sound like when you bite into it, and how do you feel when you bite into it or eat that piece of fruit. And I want you to get all that feeling state and then visualize it right there in front of you. Maybe put it in a little bubble and then send that packet of information to your partner. And partners, you can keep your eyes closed if you like for a few moments and see what you get. And whatever you get, you might get a word, you might get a feeling, you might think it's nothing. Write down or draw everything you get. You can open your eyes after you spend a moment trying to tune in. Okay? And then we're going to stop that exercise, and then we're going to switch you, and you're going to send and the other person's going to receive. And then you'll write down again. And then when I bring you all back, I won't bring you back. I'll have you both debrief a little bit and validate or give information to each other. Then we'll come back. I'll put you into another breakout room with another person. Hopefully it'll randomly do that. And the second exercise will be 10 minutes the same way. And I'm going to have the sender draw a shape, any kind of shape they want. You can give it color if you want. You don't have to, but you're going to draw a shape. You might even spell out what the shape is. And then you're going to do the same process. You're going to really link into what it looks like, how it would feel if it was a three-dimensional object, what color it might be, and then you're going to put it in that bubble and send it to the other person. The other person's going to be sitting in a relaxed phase, receiving, and then you write down what you get, and then you're going to switch. When I tell you to switch, you'll do the same thing. Debrief, and then we'll all come back. We'll take a little bit of a discussion and then a break. Okay? Any questions about that?
Hi, Deb. So
Yes.
we're going to take how long? So do we first kind of get it in our head and the taste sensation, and then we send it? So we take like a minute to do that, or how do?
Yeah, minute, 2 minutes.
Okay.
For each sender, you're going to take about 2 to 4 minutes to send, okay? And then let the other person write down what they got, and then you're going to switch, and you're going to do that for 2 to 4 minutes again. You write down what you get, and then I want you to take, and I may give you a couple more minutes than 10 minutes, but you'll see, because I'll type a little message to you that it's time to come back. And then maybe we'll chat for a minute, then we'll go into the next exercise. Okay, maybe that's easier. I don't want you to get into your left brain trying to figure out all of the format. Don't worry about it. Okay, you can't make a mistake with this. And don't be nervous, don't be shy. It's so much fun when you do it, I promise. So anybody else have questions before we start? Okay, putting you in the breakout rooms. It might take a second, but you'll see a little window come up and it'll say you've been invited to be in the breakout room, I think, and you can just say yes. Okay, so let's see. Well, it looks like we have an odd number now. So I'm going to, I guess I'll be in a breakout room with someone. Let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Sorry. I'm new to the breakout room thing. So add a room. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to let me be in one of the rooms, so I can't do that. So one of you, goodness, is going to be in a room with two people. So we'll just take turns according to your first name, okay? And I'll give you a couple of extra minutes, each of you, to do this. Okay, so don't be freaked out if that happens. That's just how it's going to work. Okay, so here we go. And they're slowly coming back. Okay. Let's see, who am I missing? There we go. All right. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. I thought we would take just a couple of minutes to um, open the floor to make any comments or answer any questions. That was the first time I ever ran a breakout session on this, so I hope it wasn't too clunky, but let's give it a try. So does anybody want to say anything? You can just unmute yourselves and we'll talk.
Hi, Kathy and I were together, and we weren't super successful with the fruits that we decided on, and we did it twice. But at one point, oh, so my second fruit that I picked, or sorry, that I was guessing on was a green apple, like a Granny Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But she had said she thought of that before, so it's kind of like we connected on that, but the timing was really off. So I don't know if there's something to that.
Right. Well, there is because, it just, again, it depends on your point of perception where you may have been, it's an interesting thing. You may have been trying to kind of foresee what you were trying to foresee. So you saw it before you're supposed to see it. Does that make sense? So it bears, it's a good little lesson for us to just get out of our mind's way and try not to think about how we're going to do it or what we're doing. Just play like you're a little kid. Remember when you were a little kid, you just played, you didn't have an agenda, you didn't have a deadline, you were just experiencing. Just try to play. But that's good. It tells me you pick something up, which is very good. So, and don't get stressed out or feel less than or disappointed if you don't get anything today. This is, this is a hard thing. When I used to do this in person in classrooms, it was really it's more stressful than you think to be with especially a stranger. Sometimes you're with a stranger and you're trying to connect with a person you don't even know, but it's really helpful to do that because when you do start to get it, and I hope you'll continue to practice after this class, when you do start to get it more and more and more, no matter who you practice with, you're going to start really feeling the strength of it. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. Anybody else have any experiences or fun things they want to talk about? Or
So yeah, with John and I, John picked his fruit first, and I don't know how many minutes we were into it, John, but I just sort of looked at him. I'm like, are you done? Because I'm just going to go with what came out. And it was a mango, and I nailed it.
Oh,
So and then with John, with my fruit, I had chosen a banana to send to him, and he came up with orange first. But he said before we went to the breakout room, banana was one of the fruits that came to him. So it's the preemptive thought, right?
exactly.
Of like, and it does, like, because of the timeline thing is not necessarily where we're at.
Yeah,
Because I thought about banana before we got into the breakout room.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, and again, it's a lesson in, it's a perfect, how do I want to say, it's a perfect illustration of how time does not exist. When we're tapping into the quantum field, you're picking up stuff from anywhere in the timeline, especially when you first start. Do you remember when you first learned to ride a bicycle or drive a car? You were kind of all over the place, right? You couldn't control it very well, or even go back further when you learned how to walk. You know, you see a toddler, they're very wobbly and they wiggle around and everything in space. But then, you know, now as you're an adult, you walk, and unless you're injured or, you know, have something going on, you pretty much walk where you want to in space unless you hit an obstacle. So that's what's happening here. It's fascinating. So congratulations, you two. Anybody else have any comments about their session? Or yes, John?
Yeah, I've never had much luck with this, but when she got mango, it kind of blew my mind. That was pretty cool. But I really have mangoes nailed. You know, I really know how they taste and everything. You know, there's no second fruit for me. But anyway, that was actually quite shocking and. So yeah,
Well,
well
and
done. Also, she's easy to hear, so that's
that's
nice.
good. Yeah, she does. She enunciates very well. Well, this brings up another point that, you know, we're talking about not just telepathy, not just reading minds. We're talking about reading the entire quantum packet of information that a person is sending, including the subconscious or unconscious material that comes with that from them, you know, from their higher selves. So if you can, in these exercises, it as the sender, if you can put as much content into what you're sending, not just the idea of a mango, for instance, how it tastes, how it feels, how it, you know, all of it, the color, the smell, where it comes from, all of that stuff, you are going to be far more successful with your receiver than if you just said mango. Because, and this is what's so interesting, you really are good with mangoes because you like mangoes, I'm assuming, or you have an attachment to the idea of the mango. So when you started working with Lisa, you probably said, send me a mango because I want the mango.
Ha, ha, ha,
Now
ha.
that's where your mind starts to really get blown, right? So it's about, really what this whole course is about is to make you understand just how connected we all really are and how beautiful that connection can be. You know, that we have this undercurrent of information coming between us and we're not even conscious of it, but we're trying to become more conscious, and that's what this practice is about. So thank you for your comments, John. That was lovely. Anything else? Anybody else before we move to the next one? Are you ready? So we're going to go into breakout rooms again. Again, there will be one group that has 3 people, and we have plenty of time. So I'm going to give each group, I'm going to give you all 15 minutes. Okay. So that should give everybody time to send and receive and, you know, kind of validate or ask questions and then change partners, especially group one. Whoever's in group one, I'll send a little message, and the person who sends usually will have their eyes open, you know, after a little while. You can see the message and say, hey, it's time to change partners, and take a few seconds and then change. All right, and then we'll get started. So here we go for the second round. And let's see. To create. All right, the rooms are opening. Good luck.
Hey, Deb, this is my third device. I think I will be going to buy a new iPad or something this week.
That happened to me not a long time ago, just a few months ago, and it was just so frustrating, you
All
know?
my stuff is so old. And, it's like, well, what do I do? Like, what expense do I get the item that works?
I know.
Right?
I know,
Did you?
like pretty much the minute you unbox it, it's defunct, It's hard to say.
Well, our phones are like really old technology anyways. So,
True.
yeah.
I'm gonna get a new phone and realize that today was
Mercury retrograde.
Mercury retrograde. I'm like, oh heck no! I'm gonna get me a phone after February 21st. Not even gonna bother with.
Well, you
getting.
can get a communication device, but just the message of Mercury is just to be very conscious about what you need, what you want, the deal you're gonna get, if you do decide to before then. But yeah, usually I try to stay away from purchasing new communication devices or transportation devices during retrograde, just because our thoughts are more fragmented. And that's why, you'll experience maybe more interruption in your interactions on the internet. Your car might need new brakes, but more than anything, it's about being really conscious about your communication with others, and especially with yourself. So watch yourself talk too. So, yeah, I know. I actually posted a little video today about Mercury retrograde. If you haven't seen it, it's just that people have become so programmed by the pop culture out there that, ooh, you should just hole up in your house during Mercury retrograde because all the bad stuff happens. And really, it's a good teacher. It's just there to help us, review how we interact with each other, and just be really focused. And it just takes more work for me. I have in my chart, Mercury is not exalted, and so I always have a little bit of obstacles during retrograde, so I have to be careful. But anyway, yes, Gail says Mercury retro is great for planning new things, and that's true because you have to really focus, right? And that's part of the energy of that. So, all right, I know you guys are probably really needed to take a break. Would you like to debrief your comments about this last session first and take your little break, or you want to do that after? Can you wait 5 more minutes to use the restroom? Okay. Unmute yourselves and let me know how your session went with the shape sending.
Yeah, I was in a room with Gail, and it was interesting because with each one we each got an aspect of the shape we were sending each other, like an aspect
Cool.
of it. It was really cool. Those are a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun. And shapes are a little bit harder because I didn't say use a colored pencil or crayon. You can't really taste a shape. You can't usually hear a shape unless you're using like building blocks or something, right? So it was just a little bit harder of an exercise to get you to focus more. But good, congratulations. Gail, did you have anything to say about it?
I thought it went very well, actually. It was very interesting. I've not done that sort of thing before. And I find if I try to put something in my mind and then let it go and think of other things, then it usually works. If I try to focus on what I'm trying to send, they get what's underneath anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, good point. And so the technique actually, at least as when you're first starting out, the technique is to really give it as much content as you can, send it to the other person, and then completely forget about it. Just
mm,
just stay in a place of quiet meditation, or you know uh, just something, do something that's completely not related to it. Just send it,
yeah,
like you don't mail a letter. If any of you ever still mail anything, you don't put it into the post box and then follow it all the way physically to its destination, do you? You put
No.
that in the box and you let it go and you trust it's going to get to the person. Most of the time,
Yeah.
it does, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody else? Comments about the shape exercise or questions about it?
Rhonda and I were in a room, and it was weird. We got the exact same. Well, the symbol she was thinking of was the same one I thought of, and we didn't really, not the exact same, but triangles. And Rhonda would be able to explain a little bit better. I had a picture of sort of like the Twilight Zone spinning shape, like the squiggly. But she had actually thought of like a star. She would be able to explain a little bit better about that. But I was thinking of transmitting to her. What I was transmitting was thin triangles, and her shape was actually a triangle, a star shape with plenty of triangles.
Lots
So
of triangles. Very
yeah.
cool.
Well, and in my school, when we focus on the star, there's a lot of mystical, alchemical symbology here. And when you look, there's multiple stars. And
Exactly.
we're also trained that this is a gateway, if you will, a stargate.
Yeah.
Anyway, and as you focus, it begins to spin, and it creates a wormhole, if you want to call it that, or a quantum
Portal, vortex.
portal, yeah, whatever you want to call it. And so this was what I focused on sending, but he was also focusing, Matt said he was focused on multiple triangles within triangles, like what was it you said, an infinite kite.
Like the
I'm not
Those-
familiar with kids or things that much, so I don't know about the kites and stuff.
Yeah, the kites that kids make in classrooms with straws and like
Yes.
tissue. So that's kind of the type of thing that I was focused on.
Cool. So you guys connected, actually. That's
Yeah.
really amazing.
Well, I was off base when he was sending. I saw the first thing I saw was like the typical symbol of a UFO craft.
Mhm.
You know, the old
Right.
silver saucer things, and then I saw the lights with the beam coming down, and then the typical what they call the alien head, the
Mhm.
little image. That was what I kept seeing, and I'm like, well, I was off base on that.
Well, were you or were you not? Remember the universal symbols that we were talking about? Where do we
Yeah.
usually associate ET beings coming from? The stars, coming from
Yep.
a spinning wormhole or a vortex. You know, all of that's connected. So I'm not, again, though, I have to watch myself, and I'm really bad about that in assigning meaning where there is no meaning. But I tend to think there's always meaning,
Always.
but I will get caught by, someone who's more skeptical or more pragmatic and say, well, you're just assigning meaning where there is none. You're just associating whatever you want to whatever that is. But that's my point, is that it's all connected in some way. So I felt like you guys did connect, and that's really cool. So
And it was interesting because we had extra time, so we decided to do the fruit exercise.
cool.
And the first thing I received, because he went first, was I saw a strawberry, and I saw the seeds and like the white pith when it was sliced, and that kind of thing. And then I saw it chocolate dipped. But what he was sending was actually a kiwi and I could see like hair. And I told him, I said there were hairs on the outside of the strawberry. And so anyway, so we kind of gave us that point for connecting. And then I was sending blueberries and imaged myself actually getting them off the bush.
Mhm.
And it was just wonderful. And what Matt got was orange. I'll let him maybe describe more of that, but oranges are like one of my all-time favorite fruits. So he was picking up on that. That's like my favorite. So
Yeah.
you want to add anything to that, Matt? I'm going to be
Well,
done talking now.
And one thing I said to Rhonda was like, I keep getting peeling, but I don't even feel like I have it right. I told her, I was like, I feel like in some ways I'm on track as far as knowing that I don't feel like I got it. Like, so.
Oh, I know where the peeling came from. Because when I buy organic oranges, I wash them and then I peel them and then I dehydrate the peel and use those as zest later. I have a gallon jar full of orange peel.
Wow.
There you go.
So
The act of peeling them. And
what my observation is that you did connect, but you connected on such a deep level that you're picking up, because remember um, the initial instructions were send your favorite fruit. So what, you were sending blueberries, but your favorite, your higher self is like, our favorite is orange, and this is what we do with oranges. And Matt was receiving that information. So take that with a grain of salt. Do with it what you will. But I think that was a really successful second try. Great. Thanks, guys. Anybody else want to hop in before we
I
take our
just
break?
wanted to say quickly, I picked up on Rhonda's star, like I saw that exact same star. So how does this get filtered? Like, I know we're all one mind. We're working as a group together, but we're also segregating. So do you think we can pick up on all of like just our group? Like, how do you filter that stuff?
Yes, and that's where group coherence comes in. That's where heart coherence comes in. When we did that initial the power boost thing that I gave you at the beginning, that was also bringing coherency. Okay, so when you work in a group, be aware, and this is for those of you who like to do like group contact work, for instance, or group healing or intention setting, or whatever. Be aware that you will be connecting on so many, like almost little filament levels with everybody in the group, but you will be more connected with certain people in the group if you are within a certain resonant frequency range. So at any given time, your vibration might be more connected with somebody in the group than the person you're working with. Does that make sense? So that's also a really fascinating facet of this work, but it's also something to be aware of. You know, you're working on building your sensitivity, your clarity, your ability to pull in and send information. Well, when you become more sensitive, you become more sensitive, i.e., you don't want to get into that old empath victim trap of saying, oh, I can't go anywhere or move around or interact with anybody because I'm just going to absorb all their stuff. You won't, but you will connect on the quantum level with people whom you have a deeper resonant frequency with in each moment. So it may be that you are both working on some similar thing in your life path, or you've reached a spot in your journey where your your frequency is vibrating at a certain level, and you're going to be connecting with that person, or at least picking up more information from that person. So yeah, so the trick is to, when you go into an exercise like this, and I hope you will work with people throughout the week. You can do this with a friend, or you can do it in our group. I open this up to the group. Y'all just start saying, hey, I'm going to send something to the group at 1:30 this afternoon, and I'll reveal what it is at 5:30 or something, and just send to the group. You don't have to visualize them or anything. Just send to the energy of the group and see who picks up on what you do. And it should be pretty fascinating. Okay, so all right, thank you. Anybody else before we go and take a break? Quick, yes, Jesse.
Sorry. I just wanted to share into that where you said that it's funny how we can also pick up into other vibrations around you. When I was doing with Miss Gail, I was there, and it was funny because it is hard to focus on just the one thing. And when we did the fruit, she guessed banana. My favorite fruit is watermelon, but I was worried because my son was really loud, and I was kept thinking about my son, that, oh, I hope he's not so loud. And it's his favorite fruit is
Oh.
a banana. So this is where it's
Fascinating.
kind of funny, how you say when like what we're really focusing on,
Mhm.
it might not be exactly what we're focusing on, but really we're focusing on somewhere else. So she, I was like, that's pretty amazing how she picked up on my son, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I was just worried that he would be too loud and I was trying to do the concentration, and
Right.
she picks up on my son's favorite fruit. So that was pretty cool how when we say about that.
Yeah, excellent, excellent example of something that we've been talking about in former classes, that the emotional state, your feeling state, is the most powerful launching point for your energy. Okay. Not just sending it out, but receiving it. So you're more focused on your son, thinking, oh, and it's an emotional state. Oh gosh, he's being loud. I'm embarrassed, or I need to quiet him, but I don't want to stop the exercise. So that's where your energy went. Thus, that's where her energy went.
Hmm. And
Very
that's
cool.
and it's true, because when I did with Mr. John and Miss Lisa, it was the same thing, because even though I picked a specific shape, I was literally focused on just one part of this shape,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept touching this circle rounded part. And
Uh-huh.
they both, Miss Lisa, I think it was round and rubbery, and Mr. John said, I'm gonna just straight out say it's a circle. And it's cool because it's true, how you're explaining that. And I right now it's just like poof, splash in my face, because I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta be more careful with what I'm really focusing and when I want to project, because that's exactly what happened. Is like I was literally just kept touching this corner, waiting, till someone was
Oh,
ready.
yeah.
And I was just, yeah, da, 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 just, and this is literally, it has, it's aluminum, but it has an acrylic covering on it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of acrylic rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's
Yep,
perfect,
there it
because
is.
it's true, it's what you're really focusing on. And that was pretty awesome. So I
And
thought
it's
I'd share
funny,
that.
you say focusing, but you're actually were subconsciously focusing on it. You were just mindlessly, So again, especially with the whole Mercury retrograde thing, be conscious as often as you can about what you are focusing on and how you're presenting your thoughts and your actions to people, because all of that other content, remember, this isn't just for class, it's not just for people studying this. All of your informational content is being shared always with other people. So that just, for me, that bespeaks the responsibility to always be emitting the best content you can from your feeling state. And when you do, you become resonant with that content from the people around you, the world around you, and it returns back to you. Sounds cliche, but it's been my experience. It's been very true. So why don't we take 5 minute break? Okay, I have 2:10 p.m. my time. So 5 minutes from now. So you take a little comfort break. We'll come back and we'll go into the psychometry exercise, which should be very fun. Okay. So come back in 5 minutes. All right. everybody coming back? As soon as everybody's back, I will talk a little bit about the psychometry piece, and then we'll get into our last little group fun activity. All right, looks like people are coming back now. I don't know about you guys, but this work makes me so thirsty. I drink a gallon of water while I'm doing this. So we'll see if Jessie comes back, and then we'll get started. So, how many of you know what psychometry is? You ever heard the term? Okay. Now, well, psychometry is just a fancy word for picking up telepathic information from an object or any physical thing. Okay. So you may have seen like sci-fi movies or documentaries about a person who can, they solve crimes by going into the crime scene and touching the table or whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah, this guy had a beard and he was 6 feet tall and he had a limp and, and they solved the crime that way. Well, we all have this. And I'm sure that if you think back, you've had an instance where you touched something or you brushed up against someone and you felt something. Okay. Maybe the hair stood up on the back of your neck or something and you felt something from that person. Psychometry is just another way of using your physical senses to pull to the sixth sense, which is, your telepathic nature. So what we're going to do today is we'll do one more breakout group. And I hope that each of you brought an object that belongs to someone else. It doesn't have to be anything special. In fact, the least special thing doesn't matter. As long as you know who owned it, that's all you need to know, or who plays with it or uses it. And what we're going to do is bring them into our rooms, our groups with each other. And we're going to do the same thing, same rules of who goes first and everything. And you're just going to hold that object up, or if it's, something that's hanging on your wall or whatever, if you can, show it on the camera and just don't do anything other than stay in a neutral state this time, not sending any information at all, but stay in a neutral state about the object. Okay, this is a fun little thing. So once your person has seen it, and they'll say thank you once they've really seen it and absorbed what it is, then we'll take a few minutes each part. Again, we'll just take 5 minutes each section for group one, the big group, and group two, the rest of the groups, you can take 6 or 7 minutes apiece and just see what you get. Okay. And so the person who is receiving, once they feel like they're receiving, they can just start writing down or drawing whatever they get. It might be feelings, it might be sounds, it might be pictures, it might be ideas, you might see a movie in your head and just write down in kind of little short descriptive sentences what you're getting. Okay. And the sender doesn't say anything. You can stay in a neutral state, you can go into meditation, whatever you want to do, just stay neutral about it. And then when I say it's time to change, you can take a minute and debrief with each other and then change, and then we'll all debrief in the large way at the end. Okay? Everybody cool with that? Got it? So,
Hey, Deb.
Yes.
Deb, so it's something that doesn't belong to us.
Something that does not belong to you.
Okay, and we show the people what it is, and then they're tapping into who it belongs to?
They're tapping into something to do with that person. They may not be able to say a name or give a description, but they will be able to tell you something about that person or about what that thing meant to that person or something to do with all of it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. Looks like Rhonda may have walked off to get something. So we'll take just a moment. Does anybody else have a question about that before we go in while she's gone? She may have had to deal with a parent. She's at home. Okay. And then, throughout the weeks, I want you guys to play with this a little bit. Just, work with somebody and say, hey, this is what I'm practicing. Can you give me something to touch? Usually you do it with touch, but in this way, we're going to use our eyes. All right. So we're going to go in and good luck, everybody. And we'll reconvene in about 15 minutes. We'll wait till everybody pops back in and then just do a little final debrief. I don't want to keep you guys so far into being late from our original time. So, all right. Good, we're all back. All right, so we can take just a couple of minutes, just if anybody wants to make a comment or have a question about the psychometry piece, and then we'll finish up for the day. We'll be spending quite a bit of time in the next few weeks in our group, in our Facebook group, doing exercises with each other and getting a little more familiar with this stuff. So, anybody want to say anything? How'd that one go?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, John.
Yeah. I tell you, when I started this thing, I was really hectic and in a rather bad mood and everything.
Oh,
But gee, hugs to everybody in my group. You guys are really super cool. I liked all of you. So anyway, let's hear it for that.
yeah. Love to hear that, John. I'm glad that it put you in a better space. Again, the group coherence, it really helps, doesn't it? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Does anybody want to talk about what happened with the last exercise? Anybody pick up anything from the object? Rhonda?
Well, Kathy, I have this little thing that sits up by my dad's table, and there's one thing that my dad does consistently is chase when the squirrels get too close to the bird feeders or a cat runs across the yard, he gets up and chases it. And she kept saying, what was it you said, Kathy, that you saw the animals running?
I just kept seeing a four-legged animal, like with their leg motion, leaping, leaping, leaping.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool. And then I had a little engineer's cap because my husband someone gave it to him because he's an engineer. And then I'm in my daughter's room and she saw a girl wearing, well, you did see a man out in the garden, which he goes out to watch the cat because he needs babysitting because he jumps over the fence. But then saw a girl wearing it like a trendy thing. And that's what she does. She has it up on her thing. She puts it on like sideways or something weird. Anyway. That was fun.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I love this exercise.
It's fun.
Cool. Thanks so much. Anybody else have any success with it or frustration with it? I know you guys are probably worn out. We've had a long session today. But I do love the psychometry piece, and I hope that you will play with that with some of the people in your life here in the next couple of weeks and see what you get. It's funny because even as a child, someone would hand me, something like hand me car keys or something, and I would pick up, I literally start getting movies in my head about, but I didn't understand what it was for a long time. And I don't have great control over it, but there are times when I can pick up something or touch something or even look at something and I get that information. So it's just something that we can build our strength in as we practice. And I just wanted you guys to have the experience of it just because it's another layer of what we've been talking about in this last couple of classes. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for your your interest and your trust. It's so much fun to do this for me. I love working and working with the energy, and I love helping people to discover their own gifts. I will say that I'm going to take the month of February off. We're not going to have classes during February because I have a really huge, potentially huge project that I'm going to be involved in. And it's going to take up a lot of my time and energy. And I don't want to be, fractioned off and try to teach you stuff while I've got my mind on this thing because it's really pretty big. Um, so, but what we will do is I'm going to be a lot more visible in the Facebook group. I'm going to probably send out a little video or just a little, you know, um, tap in kind of at least an email or a video weekly to keep you guys connected and seeing where you are with your practice and if you have any questions or whatever. And you can always email me or direct message me if you need to, but just know that's where I am. And then in March, when we come back, our class will be quantum channeling. So we're building up to different things, and I wanted to get the telepathy part in before we go into channeling because you want to be able to know that you're getting some information. You want to have those little hits to build your confidence before we go into the channeling part. So that's what we're going to do in March. So anyway, I hope you'll be looking forward to that. I'll announce it really early so you can get it on your books if you want to be part of it and invite your friends. But in the meantime, thank you so much. And I hope that you practice. John, I'll send you that daily template so that you can have what the rest of your peers have here. Just to, some of it's stuff you've done your whole life, I know, but some of it you might like the way it's put together. So I'll send that to you. And I will send this recording out to you. More than likely, it'll be sometime tomorrow. It takes me a while to get the recording back, and then I have to convert it to a YouTube. Some of you may have noticed last class I sent a YouTube link instead of the physical download because a lot of people were having trouble receiving the downloads. If you didn't have good luck with the YouTube, let me know. Lisa, I think you had a problem with it. Were you ever able to open it?
I don't think I was.
Okay.
But I'm very distracted these days. doing other fun things.
There are two spots that I noticed in the email where that link is. So you might look for the second one and click on that because it worked for me for both, but I'm on this end of it. If you can't open it, let me know. But it's so I may send the YouTube link of this to all of you. And it's a private thing, so it's not out there where everybody else gets it. It's just for you guys. And if it works, great. If you have problems, let me know, okay? And I'll send you the regular file. Okay, so thank you to Gail. Thank you for your message. Thanks to all of you. I love all of you so much, and I cannot wait to do some more stuff with you. And when I can talk about this big project, you'll be the first to know about it. I'm in a non-disclosure kind of place right now about it. So, but just know it's going to be pretty fun and pretty big. So, all right, everybody have a great rest of your weekend and practice. Bye. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.